Testing. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, let me know if you guys can hear me loud and clear. Testing, testing. Can you hear me loud and clear? Honey, I forgot I had the mute button on. Happy Wednesday, Humpty Wednesday. Midweek, week is almost over. We're gonna have a good show. So this is Dana with the Data Podcast live stream. What I started to do is upload clips on the Real Judge Joe Brown YouTube channel. So it's Dana with the Data clips, Dana with the Data Podcast clips. And this is the live stream on the Real Dana. And it's every Wednesday, sometimes on Friday. I may add in a Tuesday, don't know. Okay, loud and clear. Thank you, Phil. Thank you, TJ. So, guys, please share this video, hit the like button, and make sure you get in that chat and chat away. So, today we are going to talk about Black Barbie. The documentary came out today on Netflix. Loved it. Listen, there are pros and cons and everything. So, I'm going to talk about, I'm just going to give an overall summary, but I want you guys to go check out that documentary, Black Barbie. What I would like to do is actually reach out to some of the people that were in that documentary and bring them on and interview them. And then have a panel of women talking about Barbie and specifically Black Barbie. Also, you see Roland Martin on the thumbnail, honey. I did add him in the description. Roly Poly. I am not a fan, but I'm not going to be kicking his back in so much today because he actually, for once, made some valid points, about Donald Trump, Black Americans for a Trump coalition. However, that shirt he got on, Vote Like a Black Woman, I'm not really feeling, because what does that mean? What does that mean? I know where he got it from. It was an article that Essence magazine did when they had their round table, and they was talking about how the Black women vote is a persuasive group when it comes to election. We're getting to that. I have a special guest, Mr. Raynard Jackson. Let me make sure I got his name. Yes. I think he's been on this platform before, but once, and that was probably over a year ago. He is part of the Republican Party, the RNC, and we're going to talk about Donald Trump in more details, the Black Americans for Trump coalition, which was launched over the weekend when he was in Detroit. So we're going to go on more details. That's going to be a little bit later. I'm just going to spend a little bit of time giving a summary of Black Barbie. I want to start off with that. So it's two topics, Black Barbie and why you should vote like a Black woman, ? What does that mean? What does that mean, right? Well, before we get into anything else, did you guys hear that Louisiana becomes the first state to require 10 commandments in classrooms? Interesting. Louisiana is now the first state in the U.S. to require the 10 commandments be posted in all classrooms. Why it matters. The new law signed Wednesday by Governor Jeff Landry will face immediate legal challenges. The big picture. Other states, including Texas, South Carolina, and Utah, recently attempted similar measures, but none got their bills across the legislative finish line with the same requirement as Louisiana's. Those efforts began after Supreme Court rulings in cases like Kennedy versus Bremerton School District indicated a loser interpretation of the Constitution's Establishment Clause, which prevents state-sponsored religion, because we do have this thing called separation of state and church. Tomorrow's show on the Man Up with Judge Joe Brown and me, we're going to go in more details about the history of separation of state and church and how that came about, which is very important. And I believe that it should definitely be a separation of church and state. The Louisiana new law requires a Protestant translation of the Ten Commandments be posted in all classrooms within schools, requiring public funding, including colleges and universities. Hmm. I'm not in agreement with that. Sorry. I'm not in agreement with that. That is a fine line that I feel as though we should not start crossing. I actually had a link here that I think I saved it. I hope I did. Oh yeah, I wanted to share this. So this is the actual size. What is this? Share screen. So this is the actual size that they want the 10 commandments to be posted in classrooms. But what if you are not Christian? The legislation requires poster-sized display of the 10 commandments in a large, easily readable font be placed in all public classrooms from kindergarten through state-funded universities. So they want this big ass poster of the 10 commandments. Now, I like the idea that you want to bring more structure to, classrooms, but I think that's going a little bit too far. And like I said, I believe in separation of state and church. But anyway, we're going to go in more details about that tomorrow. But I just wanted to share that bit of information. What do you guys think? Do you think there should be a separation of church and state? So I want to move on to Black Barbie. I had a Barbie growing up. I love Barbie. I used to dress up my Barbies. I would decorate like a corner of the room as if it was her apartment, and I pretended I was interior designer. I just love Barbies. I would have a heart attack when my brother would try to play with the Barbies, like it was a GI Joe, and throw them on the wall or something like that. My first Barbie was white. My first Barbie was white. Because it wasn't no black Barbies until 1980, but it was so rare when that Barbie came out because they didn't market it, or make it accessible for everybody. But when Black Barbie ended up being in Toys R Us, yes, I got my Black Barbie. But I loved Barbie. And for a lot of us women, Black women, Black Barbie signifies and represents something very dear to us, where we get to actually see representation of ourselves, when we're playing with dolls, which is very important. I do want to share this clip of the actual what do you call it? Trailer. Where is it? Hmm. Oh, here we go. Is that it? No. I just had the damn Black Barbie thing. Now I gotta do it like this. So, Black Barbie documentary was executive produced by Shonda Rhimes. And I like Shonda Rhimes because she represents the epitome of a successful Black woman. I love her shows. I love Bridgerton, love Grey's Anatomy. That's like one of my favorite all-time shows, and the diversity that she puts in her storyline, right? So when you look at Bridgerton, was there as many as black aristocrats during that time of Queen Charlotte? There was some, but not a lot. Not as much as she puts in her story. And I think she's intentional with that because she want to normalize how each culture had a upper class, you know. And so I just love the show Bridgerton. But this is a clip of the Black Barbie trailer.
Hi, I'm Shonda Rhimes, and I'm here to talk to you about my latest project, Black Barbie. Black Barbie celebrates the achievements of the Black woman who led the way for inclusivity at Barbie. Here are 4 reasons why you should watch. 1. Inspiration. Black Barbie inspires us to dream bigger and imagine ourselves in all types of spaces. 2. Representation. We have to understand the impact representation has on our community. Not to mention, this documentary features some of the real-life queens who've been made into Black Barbies, including me. 3. Black stories matter. We're celebrating Black joy, innovation, and Black storytelling. 4. Black history is every day. It's knowing and honoring our pioneers and heroes. So everyone say a big thank you to Kitty Black Perkins, Stacey McBride Irby, and Beulah Mae Mitchell. Without them, this wouldn't be possible. Black Barbie is now playing on Netflix.
All right, so I see Reynard in there waiting. I'm gonna get to you in a second. I did have some notes, but I think what I want to do with Black Barbie is the notes that I have. I think I'm going to save it for when I actually have a panel of Black women, right? And to really dive deep and talk about the significance of Barbie, the history of Barbie and Black Barbie. The people who created Mattel, it was a white family called the Handler family. And Beulah Mae Mitchell, she got hired at Mattel in 1955 and she worked there to 1999. And she was the first person to mention to Ruth Handler that, hey, you ever thought about making a black doll? And they came out with Christy, Cara, Francine, but they were not the Barbies. The first official Barbie came out in 1990 by Kitty Black Perkins. She created the first Black Barbie, and it took 21 years from since Barbie came out in Barbie came out in the 80s. It would be 1960, yeah, or 1955, around that. But it took 21 years for Black Barbie to hit the market, and they didn't put a lot of money behind it. But I just wanted to throw that out there and encourage people. Listen, it's Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth. Whether you Black, white, it doesn't matter. Go and watch Black Barbie. What I did not like about the documentary, when they was interviewing a person for the first time and you see their name coming across, they will always put she/her, he/him, or they/them. I do not do that pronoun shit. So I'm just like, here we go. Towards the end of the documentary, when you bring in a psychologist, there was a lot of DEI conversations. So what I took away from that was that Barbie today in 2024, there's not a strong representation of Black Barbie in the characters or the content, but you have all this diversity hires going on. So essentially, I walked away saying, listen, DEI makes things worse because in the 80s and the 70s and even the 60s, you had, when Barbie was created, you had all these different Barbie black dolls associated with Barbie, and then the first Black Barbie, and then in the 90s you had all of the Black Barbies. They had like their own catalog, and then in the 2000s it started to fade, but then you have all this diversity within the company. I don't know, something is up with that. So I just want to encourage you guys to go watch it. I think it's a good documentary. But anyway, let's get into, I'll call somebody by their name rather than by, yeah. So I didn't really like that. I didn't really like that. All right, so hi, Raynard Jackson, Mr. Jackson, how are you?
Hey, hey, how you doing, Your Holiness?
So you actually been on a platform before, and it was like over a year ago. So just
Yeah,
quick,
because you don't love me anymore.
no, you're always busy, but reintroduce yourself and tell the people who you are and what because I say you're part of the RNC. Would that be correct?
Well, no, I'm not a part of that. I don't work for them. I am a member of the Republican Party, yes, and originally from St. Louis and graduate of Oral Roberts University, yes, that school in Oklahoma. And when I finished school, well, I call him Old Man Bush, but Bush the father, when he was vice president under Reagan, he literally pulled me out of obscurity, and I ended up chairing his campaign back home in St. Louis. And if you know anything about St. Louis politics, if you're black, you're a born Democrat. There's no multiple choice test. There's no options. No if this, if then that, then you're just Democrat, period. And I built a pretty strong reputation as a black Republican in St. Louis, got the attention of the sitting vice president, and once we won, I moved up here. And when we left the White House, I decided to open up my own lobbying firm, which I've been doing ever since. And so I work with a lot of uh, congressmen, governors, senators, presidents, helping them with their campaigns. I don't want to go on the inside as a staffer once they win. I'm a political animal, and so that's what people know me for. But we also, as far as my consulting firm, we represent a lot of professional athletes and entertainers, represent a lot of African presidents throughout the continent of Africa. And so everything is based on my Rolodex, and my Rolodex has been built based on my political activities. So I can pick up the phone and call everyone from, yes, Al Sharpton to Vernon Jordan to Ron Brown when he was living, to a lot of heavy hitter Republicans. And so, um, people, you remember the TV show Scandal, for you and your audience.
Yeah.
That was based on a dear friend of mine, Judy Smith. We both worked for President Bush at the same time. Hollywood had a hard time believing black folks like us had the access to power at the level we did, and that's the movie. So the TV show Scandal is based on a black woman that's
Right.
Republican.
Right.
And so that's a little bit about me. So unfortunately, when people call me, normally they're in some type of trouble. So
Mhm.
I try to help them, solve their problems. But yeah, and I'm a Trump supporter, have been from day one. And one of the things, Dana, we're going to do in the fall is we want to do a series. If I can get the Democrats to agree, I want to get a Roland Martin. I want to get Joe Biden's campaign team who are black. I want to do a series of town hall debates where we can take this across the country, and let's compare both candidates' platforms and see which one is more beneficial to the black community. But Dana, I'm telling you, I would be stunned if they accepted my offer.
That's what I
With
was about to say. They're not going to accept that, especially
yeah,
Roland Martin.
yeah, yeah. But see, I'm going to take out ads in newspapers, radio, TV, with the formal invitation. And if they ignore me or decide not to accept it, then sit down and shut up. They know, Dana, their arguments are so weak that the only way they think they can get black folks to vote for them is to scare them. And blacks are too sophisticated to continue to allow that to happen.
Well, on my thumbnail, I have the picture of Roland Martin, but he has that T-shirt on, "Vote like a black woman." And I want to play the clip where he was wearing that T-shirt when he was talking about Donald Trump this past weekend in Detroit when they launched the Black Americans for Trump coalition, right? You actually agree with Roland Martin when he broke it down. I watched it. I do agree with some points. I do have some timestamps that I want to pull up and show because I think that they could have done better. And I hope when they, when they do go to Chicago, because he's going to Chicago, that the people of Chicago have the right questions and the right people on the panels, black it up to make it be more authentic. So I want to, let me share this. I didn't want to put that there. Let me share this. Oh no, I'm sorry, not that one. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Correct in that. And the truth, turn a light of truth upon them. Now, over the weekend, Donald Trump on Saturday went to a black church. The church is called the 180 Church, is led by Pastor Lorenzo Sewell. It's on the outskirts of downtown Detroit. Now, it was supposed to be about reaching black people. Can y'all please show the video of all the white folks who were there? We could literally, so let's see. Byron Donalds was there. Stop, freeze it. Now, let's see here. Go. I don't know if y'all can get me over here. But let me see here. Can y'all get me over here? I'm trying to see. Go start the video. Go back a little bit. Go back a little bit. Okay. All right. So come on. Hold on. No. Go on. Start from over. Bring that. I'm trying to. So let me do this here. So let me go. I'm trying to count here. I'm trying to sit here and count, y'all. I'm trying to count here because I'm really confused. I'm really confused here.
So basically, he's complaining about the amount of white people that was there, right? And that's the issue that we're gonna see Democrats and people who are pro-Democrats with these talking points just making up stuff, because that audience was very much mixed. Yes, there were white people there more than usual because it's a black church, but because Donald Trump was coming, you have more white people supporting Donald Trump than you do black people. So wherever Donald Trump goes, white people want to follow. But that was a mixed crowd in that audience. And there's another video, because I pulled up the video where you see the whole round table, and then they pan the audience. There were a lot of black men, particularly, and women sitting in the audience. It was just scattered or whatever. It was mixed. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, it was poor planning. And what you're talking about, Dana, the optics, what we call in the industry staging. Just like if you're planning a wedding, you want to make sure there are certain decorations in the back where the bride and groom will be standing here with the pastor. So when people are taking pictures, you want the appropriate backdrop that's going to be in all the photos, whatever you and the spouse decide you all want. And so, number one, you're in downtown Detroit. The staging should have been, you put all your black folks up front. You don't have that spread out throughout the auditorium. That was the first mistake.
Okay, so that I'm gonna have to disagree with you there, because actually, let me make this bigger. He actually did, but so this is the video of everyone there, and you kind of like when you pan.
V-Fly is a company.
Damn commercials. There were a whole bunch of black people on the stage and in the front.
See, look at the shot there.
So you have black people over here. I see some black people in the audience. It's black people here in the front here. And then on the other side of the table is black people. So honestly, I disagree with you and Roland on that part about how they, if you showed up, it's black people on both sides of the stage here. And then
but Dana, the problem is The people on the sides, on the left and right, they're not in the money shot. Only the people sitting at the table Trump. That's called the center shot or the money shot. The folks on the wings, they're not in the camera shot. And when the photographers are videotaping and taking photos, still photos, they won't be in the shot. So again, this is poor planning because you have folks planning the event who have no experience in stagecraft. And again, you should have had the first 5 or 10 rows of the church filled with black folks. So when the media is doing their money shots, when they're taking shots of the audience sitting in the pews there, you want the camera shot to have nothing but black folks in that picture. Again, because what you got to do, Dana, I tell my clients all the time, you don't need to pay me to tell you what to do. You're paying me because I know what your opponents are thinking and how they're going to respond to what you do. So you can find plenty of people who know what to do, but can you prepare your client to anticipate what the reaction is going to be? That's where I make my money. And so if you're planning this event, Dana, you have to anticipate Joy Reid or MSNBC and Abby Phillips or CNN. You know they're going to act a fool. You know people like Roland are going to act a fool. So what is it that they're going to criticize about? Oh, they're going to do a camera shot and not see a lot of blacks in the first 10 rows. So let's make sure we stack it. So we address that issue.
I see what you're saying. So it's like, the media outcome, they're going to criticize every little thing, right?
Yep.
And maybe the Trump people, they just wanted to be organic because this is something new when you're talking about black people switching from Democrat to Republican. That's unheard of in the last 70, damn near almost 100 years, because black people started switching, voting on a federal national level, voting Democrat under FDR. So again, this is a movement. This is unprecedented that you have 21% of the black voter support for a Republican presidential candidate. So, I get what you're saying. And I'm like, as far as Trump camp, if you know this, if you know your black American voting support is growing, then you need to do it right.
Well, yeah, but see, Dana, any sitting president like Joe Biden or a former president like a Donald Trump, they have what we call advance team. So if they know on July 21st, Trump is going to be in St. Louis, they're planning that now. They have everything planned down to, okay, what venue are we going to use? Whether it's a church or a university, auditorium, outdoors. And you notice with Trump, they always have the American flag positioned all nicely to get them. So my point is, even though Trump is a former president, you have advance teams that will go in a week or two before each event and talk with the host. And so that tells me the advance team did not know what the heck they were doing. Because again, all the criticism Roland is having, you and I talked about it offline, you should have anticipated that. Yeah, and you should have insulated Trump from those criticisms by making sure those criticisms were not valid.
All right, let me play a little bit more of this clip. So this is, I'm fast forwarding.
Because y'all know Trump pays for people to come to their rallies.
Which is not true.
But these fools are sitting here. Just press play. If y'all want to see some, look at this silly ass. Look at this. That's it. That's it. That's it. They found 15 of them. Stop right there. Here's my other deal. I don't know who these two Negroes are, but you cannot be a real black person and have your Bama ass wearing a hat in the pulpit. I don't know who these two Bamas right here are, but they need their ass whooped. Okay, all right. So let's okay. So
So, you know, and then he's complaining about the people, you know, the way they look with the hats or whatever. Um, you even said that you had an issue with that as well, that they should have known to take their hat off. My question is though, why do they even have it in the church? Why is it that every time when it comes to politics and when it comes to black people voting or gaining their support, you have to go to a church? When I started this podcast, I'm just like, I believe in separation of church and state. So why are they even having it at a church? I think that's a problem.
Well, a couple of number one, I agree with Roland's assessment. You in the church sanctuary. It's different if you're in the church meeting hall that's kind of next door to the main sanctuary, but you're actually in the sanctuary in the podium on stage where the minister preaches on Sunday. So that's just common sense. You don't wear a hat in church. I mean, I don't know why, but Dana, here's the interesting thing. Roland, of all people, want to talk about, you should never be hosting a TV show or when you look dressed like Roland is. That's totally inappropriate for what he's doing. Walking into your studio with a t-shirt and shorts on, and you want me to take you seriously as a journalist? So, Pot, let me introduce you to my good friend Kettle. So, Roland is not in a position to criticize attire and dress based on the way he's looking on this show and the foul language he's using, and he always uses it. No one should ever be, and you and I are talking about this all the time, you should not curse when a camera is rolling or a microphone is in front of you. When I do media training for my clients, I drill that into them. Now, when you with the fellas or your girl, y'all just chilling somewhere, hey, use whatever language you want. But when that microphone is on, that red light is on the camera, you got to speak the King's English. Now, as far as being in a church, I don't have a problem with that because, see, the Democrats do it all the time, as well as they actually endorse Democrats from the pulpit, which is illegal if you're a 501c3, and every church is a 501c3. But only Republicans or conservative churches will ever get investigated by the IRS over something like that. Mm-hmm. So I don't necessarily have a problem with Trump using the actual church sanctuary, because I don't know if this church, Dana, has like a building next door where they do, you know, the food after church and all that. I don't know anything about the church, but I didn't have a problem with that. But the other thing is, Dana, when you look at the people sitting on stage with Trump, no one knows who these people are. And
they are the citizens that live in Detroit. They're Detroit citizens. So it's not about being a celebrity. Of course, people are familiar with Byron Donalds, but it's not about being a celebrity. It is about community outreach. You want to go into the community and you want the voters to switch from Democrat.
Okay, let me ask you this then, Dana. No, and I agree with you on that. Every person you put on stage in a situation like this, everyone's got to have a story to tell. If I go through each one of these people, I can guarantee you, Dana, you can tell me what was the tagline for each person who spoke. I mean, what is the one sentence message that they had for Trump and the audience? And the answer is zero. You got one guy here on.
I'm about to actually play one of the people talking.
Best in the history of our country. Other than that, what did I do? Not that much.
Phrase.
Not that much. No.
That's real interesting. All the things that he laid out when he left office and how all things were amazing and things were wonderful. And we had jobs and all that sort of stuff. Gasoline was $2. Really? Is that what happened there, Donald? So was there something you're forgetting that was going on? The reason why gasoline was $2 a gallon that you claim when you left office, that was just, I swear as I listened to that, that was just one thing that was just sort of jumping out at me that I never heard. Henry?
Watch the press will put
No,
that up.
Henry.
Do that.
iPad.
He always got issues with his technology.
COVID. Wasn't nobody driving when you left office. Please. Fact of the matter is, the economy that we have is we've had the
entrepreneurs, specifically keeping the Black
this, y'all, and Lord have mercy.
community is disenfranchised, we're marginalized, we're pushed aside. And there are two things that are happening with crime and employment. You're an entrepreneur. How do you see funding entrepreneurs, specifically keeping the Black dollar in the Black community? Let me explain. If I want to eat, I have to give my money to the Albanians at Coney Island. If you want to get gas, you need to go to the Chaldeans. If you want to have your hair look like mine, you got to go to Asians. And I thank God for Asians. My wife is right there. She's Asian. Our children are Blasian. So I give it up to my Asian brothers and sisters.
Okay, I got to phrase that bullshit right there. Because first of all, y'all, I've been to Detroit. To act like you don't have Black-owned restaurants in Detroit is a simple lie.
All right, so let me pause it right there. I gotta agree with I agree with Martin right there, because I don't know. And again, okay, so maybe these are people that live in Detroit, but my thing is, yes, they need to screen the people and they need to screen the questions. I understand the question, but that's not the president's responsibility for the question he asks. But at the same time, his reason for asking that question was stupid. You don't have a Black barber in Detroit.
Which is not true. I've had my hair cut in Detroit.
Right. And my thing is, your wife is Asian, which probably made you want to find a Asian, that's probably why you went to a Asian person that you realized could cut your hair really well. So and then he's like, well, I have an Asian wife, whatever. It just seemed like they allow people with these contrived questions and ideology. And that is the problem that this Black Americans for Trump coalition, that's the problem that they're going to have going forward. You don't have real, authentic Black people asking you the questions, sitting at the table. Your outreach plan is horrible. All Black people are not poor, because you even said it. They need to reach out to Black people who are upper class, middle class, professionals, entrepreneurs. Where are those people at, right? And I think they should get out of the church. Stop going to the church.
Well, that I agree with you on, Dana. And again, I have planned many events like this for sitting presidents, vice presidents, senators, governors, congressmen, etc. And again, it's almost like what's the saying in law? Never ask your client a question you don't already know the answer to. And so when you have a big fish like a Donald Trump, the people you have asking questions, you need to know what it could be their own question, but you got to know what the question is, and you need to prep President Trump. Okay, you're going to be asked this question. Here's the response you should give. And then Trump can put his own spin on it. But that's what you do call planning, because again, Dana, I can't emphasize this enough for your audience, that you have to anticipate what the liberal media is going to say. Even when Republicans do the right thing, they will always try to find something to nitpick. And you have to anticipate that and inoculate your principal, in this case, Donald Trump. You have to be prepared. And then the other thing is, they knew about this event for a week or two in advance. So what the preacher of the church should have done, or the Trump campaign should have done, they should have taken out a Black editorial by the minister there and put it in the Black newspaper, as well as the white newspaper, the Detroit Free Press. That should have been done the week of the event. So that Monday, and the event was that Saturday, that editorial should have run in both of those newspapers, talking about, here's the purpose of the event, here's what we hope to take away from this event. That wasn't the media showed up at the event on that Saturday, but there was no post-media plan. So now that Trump is back on the plane, where the media spin, and what is what we call your tagline? What is the one sentence you want all the media to take away from this event you just put on? None of that was done.
No, but I wonder who do they have? Who does he have around him that that can convey the proper message? I don't think he has the right people.
I agree. I agree.
I live in Detroit. I had no idea Trump was coming here until he got here. Yeah.
Wow.
Where was the promotion prior to that? There weren't any, and so I got the word from Chicago P. Ray yesterday in the X space. She said he's coming to Chicago. Well, I hope that Chicago people market it, promote it, and they make sure who they have to link up to in a Trump campaign, that you make sure that they're doing it right. And you have to have the right Black people, because the Black people Trump had when he first ran for office, those Black people they're not relatable to Black America.
Well, I agree. I agree 100%.
I want to switch to Black women, because
that's my girl Melody Campbell.
Okay, so Roland's wearing this shirt, vote like a Black woman. And what does that mean? And like I said, happy Juneteenth, everybody. What is vote like a Black woman? So apparently, she was a guest on his show, and it was, the 9th annual Black Women's Roundtable sponsored by Essence, Power of the Sister Vote. And apparently, when it comes to Black women, it says as of 2024, U.S. presidential election approaches, Black Women's Roundtable, BWR, and Essence have released the annual Power of the Sister Vote poll, a survey of Black women voters on the issues that matter most to them. This is the 9th year that they've done this. The results show that economic anxieties remain top of mind for Black women voters in 2024, particularly with the focus of cost of living. 56% of respondents said that they feel economic conditions in the country have gotten worse, and over half of them say they feel they are falling behind economically. A majority of Black women, 47% across generations, are dissatisfied with the direction of the country, up 18% since 2022, primarily due to cost of living. Now, rent has gone up everywhere. The poll also found that it's a clear generational gap within Black women electorate, with older Black women voters locked in and motivated to vote, while younger Black women voters are weighing their options. So, Black women, is that a persuasive voting bloc when it comes to elections?
In the Democratic Party, it is. In the general overall electorate, it is not. But they dominate. They're the largest voting bloc in the Democratic base. But I'm confused, Dana. Now, this polling data saying that women's number one priority is economic anxiety, but yet Roland Martin and Joe Biden and his team, did they not say the economy is doing well and everything is very good? If that's the case, then the Black women are lying.
Right, that's a great point. So I want to play a little bit of this clip here.
You are the less likely that you say that you're going to vote, right? We know there's anxiety. Anxiety is high, all the things that that we know around issues, but when it comes to where we stand politically, there is a lot of work that has to be done.
So when you say in the persuadable category, what's the difference from previous polls? Were previous polls that these Black women were ardent supporters voting for a Democratic candidate, and so
most definitely, right?
And so the poll now is saying what?
The poll still is saying that they would still vote majority Democrat, but right now not as high. The other is just even saying you're going to vote at all. The numbers are reflecting that there's work to be done, right? What was positive, I think, but not even where it used to be. Roland, Black women tend to vote. We're not a monolith, but we are strategic, and we look at it. And we tend to be, our numbers tend to be much higher I can't remember now, and Dr. Avis Jones Weaver, and of course, Terrence Woodbury and Hit Strategies was our poster, but we also had, Dr. Avis Jones Weaver, who helped with the analysis, and none of us have seen that before. So there is a difference. It's a lot to unravel, but the bottom line is the Democratic Party, if they want the black vote to turn out for them, they're going to work for it. And if the Republicans want to take a stab at moving it, they have work to do. And black women are not a sure thing. They're going to have to work for it. Just like they have to work for black men and all of us, they got to work for the black vote. Bottom line.
So when you say there's a clear generational divide, give us what that looks like, and what age range are we talking about?
Generation Z, right? Those are the youngest in their 20s. Those who are 18 to 20, I think Gen Z is 18 to 26. So I maybe have that off a little, but there's a major divide between that and what you call the more senior generation, right? Boomers. And so when you're looking at the data, which I'm sorry, I don't have it all to be able to go through it tonight, I really want to make sure that we can have, Roland, a deeper conversation about what this really means when it comes to what has to happen. You've been out here hanging from the rooftop saying, you got to work for it. This poll is another example that the folks going to have to work for our vote.
All right. So, but what are we getting with the vote? And I think, yes, you should be voting for the black vote, whether you're Democrat or Republican. But at the same time, I think black Americans need to demand public policies. So working for my vote means I'm presenting to you problems or things that I need for my community, policies that we need, right, enacted, and you're making it happen, so and it's on paper. That's working for my vote. So what is that, how does that work when you're saying working for someone's vote?
Well, number one, Dana, and Melanie, the good friend of mine, matter of fact, I'm gonna call her when we finish. Matter of fact, you should have her on your show, and I'll facilitate. Melody, she's hard left Democrat, but she's one of the sharpest political minds in the Democratic side. No question about it. She's been in the game for a long time. A smart sister. The problem is, what is it that black folks want, Dana? The Black Caucus is selling the black community up the river every day here in D.C., without question. And isn't it amazing? Joe Biden announced yesterday at the White House this amnesty plan for 500,000 folks. Now, isn't it amazing, Dana? And of course, me being the only genius on your show, I noticed things that other humans don't notice. Do you realize there was not one African on the stage, not one African in the audience? And so the strategic mistake the Hispanic community has made
in the audience.
Yeah, they have allowed this
what you talking
issue
about? In what audience?
At the White House, because they had about 200 people in the audience. Then the people on the stage
announced the amnesty thing.
Exactly.
I'm not African. I'm Black American.
Right. No, I'm talking about folks from Africa who have immigration problems.
They weren't in the audience. Okay.
So right. Yeah.
And so the African, the illegal Africans.
Exactly. And so what the Hispanics have done, as far as making a mistake, they have allowed this issue of illegal immigration to be a Hispanic issue. I know folks from Russia, from Europe, from Africa, and South America.
I'm totally against that amnesty.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you on that.
They all need to be deported.
Right. So my point is, getting back to what Melanie was saying, why is it when that Biden has done specific things for the illegal Hispanic community, he's done specific things for the homosexual community, he's done specific things for transsexuals, but when it comes to black folk, you remember the famous quote from Kamala Harris, what are you going to do for black folks? She said absolutely nothing. And then did the sister girl thing when she said it to show how serious she was about doing nothing specific to black folks. So when these polls come out that Melanie's group has put out, if Biden were to ask black folks, Okay, what do you want me to do? They can't even agree on what they would want a sitting president to do.
Mm-hmm. Right. So again, work for our vote. How? Yes, Black women vote, younger generations. Yeah, that's very much up in the air, especially the Gen Zs. Now you have a campaign going around Biden, Trump, or couch, and they checking off couch, meaning they're not going to vote. Why you're not going to vote? And then you have people saying, well, no reparations, no vote. Well, that's not how it works. You don't give reparations via the presidency. That's the act of Congress, and you need to vote people in that's going to represent your needs. So you cannot not vote, right?
But what are you voting for, though?
What are you voting for? Right.
I mean, isn't it amazing that, Dana, when you look at every time Biden turns around, he's giving away a concession to transsexuals. I thought women, Black women, especially in the 70s, did they not fight to have Title IX added to the Civil Rights Act that guaranteed women participation in college sports and all that stuff? Now you got guys who are males beating women, and you don't hear a word from these same Black women like Melanie. They are co-signing on it. They don't represent the mainstream of Black females. They have been bought and paid for by the liberal Democrats, and they are so detached from the rank and file of the Black community. You know, Dana, you talk to a lot of people. Black folks ain't down with this, having men in the women's locker room and undressing in front of them at the swimming pool and all that good stuff. Black women ain't for that.
No, that's true. I totally agree with you on that one. But, listen, I've been doing a lot of Black stuff this week. And I guess because Juneteenth is today, and Trump launched the Black Americans for Trump Coalition, which kind of was a little bit, it missed the mark. It missed the mark. I need to get back to my national news because I have a lot of white people that watch me. I've been doing a lot of Black content. And let me just say this about Black Americans, because, just get it together when you're voting. Yes, they need to work for your vote, but you have to understand, what does that mean? That means you tell them what you want, demand it. And if they don't have a plan, you working for your vote, meaning, do these candidates have a plan to deliver your needs? That's the question you need to ask the candidates. The people who you're voting for locally and nationally, do you have a plan for the needs for my community, public policy or whatever?
Well, but Danny, one of the biggest issues that no one's talking about but a small group of people, the Congressional Budget Office, CBO, just came out yesterday and announced our deficit is $400 billion with a B, higher than they told us last month, and everyone knew, who keeps up with economics, that Biden was lying. Dana, our deficit is 85% of our GDP right now. It's predicted by the end of the year, if things stay the way they are, our deficit is going to be over 125% of our budget. That is unsustainable. Unsustainable. And none of these politicians are talking about. They keep giving money to Ukraine, keep giving money for illegal to get health care that we're paying for. We're borrowing money for China. And Biden is pushing this Green New Deal. Guess what? All the batteries are made in China. All the cars are produced in China, the component parts. And so what Biden is saying is, we're going to buy these batteries. And do you realize, Dana, that these batteries are doing more damage to the environment than regular old-fashioned cars when it comes to getting rid of the engines and all that kind of good stuff?
Right.
No one's talking about that.
Right. And sorry.
Am I boring you?
It's sinuses and it come out like that. No, you're absolutely right. And that is something that, as I do my shows, whether it's with the judge or, when I do Data with the Data, I want to talk about those things because that's very important. And people need to understand how those type of policies trickle down and affect us. But now, you don't want people following you on social media? You're not on social media because you're more behind the scenes.
Yeah, no, I'm on social media. I'm just Raynard Jackson for Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or X. So I'm on all that stuff. Just Google my name and all my stuff pops up.
Yeah. I gotta have you back on, but we need to definitely stay in touch more often because this is election season and the summer is just going to get more hectic with the election. And like I said, you are the behind the scenes man, which is very important. So thank you for coming on.
Well, thank you for having me. And I'll talk to you offline, but I want to get some of my guys that we talked about offline. But also, I got some of my buddies who are great on anything economic. They can break down the numbers for you in gross detail. So we'll talk offline. And I'll get you all these guests to populate your show. And I want to see you go from where you are at 100,000. We need to get you about 500,000 over the next year or so.
Yeah, that's my goal. But I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate
all right, anytime.
All right.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys, listen. When I do the show on Wednesdays, I'm going back to 7 p.m., 6 or 7 p.m. And then I didn't do the title. It don't matter. So what I'm going to do is, that was a great conversation, Mr. Jackson, Mr. Raynard Jackson. I love the behind the scenes people because they know the know, they're in the know. And you need to always know people behind the scenes, not always people who's in front of a camera. But this video is probably going to most likely go to membership, but I'm going to clip out the part with him and premiere it like Saturday morning. That's what I'm going to do. But listen, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I premiered a video earlier, and maybe that's what did it as well. I don't know. But you worry about getting back to you. Ciao. Y'all take everything so seriously, so literally. Because y'all, you know what? People, specifically Black people, always talk about DEI. Well, you ever thought about it? That DEI also means including white people in colored spaces. Yeah. So yeah, I'm all about diversity. But I love it when I have a broad audience, and not just Black people, white people, Asians, all people, no matter what gender or sexuality you claim to be, they want to know what's going on. They want to know about the law. You know, they want to know about celebrity gossip and tea. I never want to be boxed in as Black this or Black that. When I do X space, people would say, oh, well, this is a Black space on X. No, it's not. I tell them, no, this is not a Black space. No, it's not. Don't get that out your head. Because I'm a Black woman, this is Black? No. Yes, I'm going to talk about Black issues. Yes, I'm going to talk about white people. Yes, I'm going to talk about illegals and Hispanics and the Indians and the Chinese. I'm going to talk about everything worldwide, other countries. Just because I'm Black doesn't mean this is not the Black Star Network. Like Roland Martin, he always put on that dashiki robes and all this. No, boo-boo. I don't do tribalism. But sometimes it baffles me that Black people think because you are a Black face, then it's a Black company or a Black show. I'm a Black woman. I have a podcast. Actually, I have a company called the Roland Network, right? And it just so happened to be created by a Black woman. However, when I do talk about Black issues, I would say it's more authentic than someone who is not Black. But I also want to bring on different people. Now, everyone don't have to be Black, my guest or whatever. It's very important that you listen to all opinions and perspective, no matter what they look like. That's very important. And I think we, especially Americans, but people in the world who are on social media a lot, we forget that. And sometimes Black people, we forget it too, because we are so comfortable when it's just us. And I get it. I don't want to be comfortable. I never want to be comfortable because then you're not growing. And that's why, that was a joke, but that's why I emphasize, listen, I don't just talk about Black things. Now, because my audience is mixed now, white people get to hear, you know, a Black perspective on Black issues that they probably don't hear anywhere else, especially when the judge is on. But I never want to box myself in because you don't grow. And I love it that my audience is growing because that means I'm growing. So, yeah. Happy Juneteenth. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for Man Up Thursday with me and Judge Joe Brown. No, that's not what I meant. I know. They didn't have all cultural traditions. Yeah. I didn't take it as you know, slighted or nothing. Now, you worried about getting to your white honors 1 week or a day is needed for our issues. Yeah, but you know what I want to do? Just Z. I want, and maybe this is my Gandhi moment. I want to make it, I want to normalize it when I talk about different issues. I want to normalize it. And Black issues are not normalized nationally because people think, okay, they're talking about Black issues. I'm not Black, you know, so I'm going to stay out of it. I'm not going to listen. No, I want you to listen. I go in white spaces all the time on social media and in real life. Why not? So I want to normalize Black issues. That's what it is. And it should be normalized. Just like the Black Barbie. And you know what, guys? Go watch the documentary. I am going to get a panel of Black women to talk about Black Barbie. And that's why our issues, our culture, our history, everything needs to be normalized. And that's it. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. And like I said, I'll see you girls tomorrow. Oh, this is going to membership, but I'm going to chop it up and upload it to premiere Saturday morning. All right. Bye. Good night. And of course, love you, Catalia. I didn't see Southern Belle tonight, but love you, Shayla, everyone. All right. See you guys tomorrow. Bye. Oh, and shout out to everybody on X. I always forget X. Love you guys on X.